Okay, let's talk about a name literally everyone knows, Thomas Edison. But the story you think you know, the lone genius inventing the light bulb in a flash of brilliance, well, most of that is a myth. We're going to uncover the real story behind one of history's most iconic figures.
1,093. Just look at that number. That's how many US patents Thomas Edison held. A number so massive, it's pretty easy to see why we think of him as America's greatest inventor, the guy who basically invented the modern world all by himself.
And this is the big one, right? The invention we all link to his name. The legend says he created light out of thin air. But the true story, oh, it's way more complex, and honestly, a whole lot more interesting.
So let's just dive right in and tackle the most famous myth head-on, the invention that lights up our entire world. I'm willing to bet the story you learn in school isn't the whole story, not even close. Here's the thing. Edison wasn't the first. As you can see right here, a British scientist, Sir Joseph Swan, had already developed and patented a working incandescent bulb a full year before Edison's big, famous demonstration in 1879. See, the real challenge wasn't just making a light bulb. Plenty of people had already done that. The problem was making one that was actually practical and affordable. You know, one that didn't just burn out after a couple of minutes. And this is where we see Edison's true genius start to shine through. It wasn't in the initial invention, but in the relentless, obsessive refinement of it. And when I say relentless, I mean relentless. He famously tested thousands of different materials for the filament. That's the tiny little part of the bulb that actually glows. He tried everything, from vegetable fibers to bamboo, just looking for something that could take the heat and last. And here it is, the breakthrough. After all of that trial and error, his team landed on something incredibly simple, a carbonized cotton thread. Now, it wasn't the first light bulb ever made, but it was the first one that really worked. One that could burn for hours and hours, not just minutes, and one you could actually mass produce. This quote says it all. It perfectly captures his entire philosophy. For Edison, every failure wasn't some kind of dead end. It was just more data, another step on the path to getting it right. It was all about systematic, tireless iteration. Now, this pattern of innovation over pure invention, well, it wasn't a one-off. We see the exact same thing happen in another massive industry Edison supposedly created from scratch, the movies. So here we go again. The popular story gives all the credit to Edison for inventing movies. But just like with the light bulb, the reality is a little different. It involves a different kind of genius, and more importantly, a key collaborator who often gets totally overlooked. Edison didn't actually invent the movie projector. Instead, his lab, and this was really spearheaded by his employee, William Kennedy Laurie Dixon, they created the kinetoscope. It wasn't a shared experience like going to the movies today. It was this personal movie viewer where you drop a coin in, lean over, and watch a short film through a little peephole. And this slide right here really reveals Edison's true superpower. He didn't just create one product, he built the entire ecosystem around it. His lab developed the kinetograph camera to shoot the films, the 35mm perforated film that would become the industry standard, and even the studio to produce all the content. And this place was just incredible. He created the world's very first movie studio, which they nicknamed the Black Maria because it kind of looked like a police wagon. It was this unique building, covered in black tar paper, that could actually be rotated on a circular track to follow the sun all day, making sure they always had perfect natural light for filming. So, okay, if we didn't single-handedly invent the light bulb or the movie projector, what exactly made Thomas Edison a genius? What was his secret sauce? The answer, really, is his laboratory at Menlo Park, New Jersey. And this place wasn't just a workshop. It was the world's first industrial research lab, an invention factory designed to just churn out technological innovations on an industrial scale. And churn them out they did. At Menlo Park, Edison and his team of researchers, his muckers as he called them, they produced over 400 patents. He basically turned invention from this lone genius lightning strike moment into a repeatable industrial process. The factory didn't just build things, it built the future. So Edison's real genius wasn't just one skill. It was this really powerful combination. He perfected crude concepts until they were reliable. He built the entire infrastructure they needed to succeed. Like, what good is a light bulb without power stations and wires to your house? And he was a master entrepreneur who knew exactly how to turn an innovation into a global industry.
All right, let's pull all this together and really understand what his true lasting impact on the world is. Because it's not about one single invention. It's about a completely new way of creating the future.
See, he didn't always have the very first idea, but he almost always had the final, definitive version, the one that worked, the one that was affordable, the one that everyone ended up using. He had a knack for turning scientific curiosities into everyday necessities. This quote just nails it perfectly. His work didn't just create new products, it fundamentally rewired daily life, from the way we light our homes to the entire industries of sound and film that entertain us today. And this is Edison's ultimate legacy. He created the blueprint for modern innovation. He showed the world that progress isn't just some magical spark of genius. It's a sustained, collaborative, and commercially focused process. It's just plain hard work. And that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. Edison's story really forces us to ask what we value more in the history of progress. Is it the person with that initial, brilliant spark of an idea, or is it the one with the vision and the sheer determination to build an entire world around it?